very strange magnetic toy which I picked up in about 1990, I think it was, at the British Toy Fair too. A lovely couple, and very funny and completely unlike normal toy people. They weren't, in fact. He was a physicist too. But they decided for a bit of fun, what they'd do is create something that no one else has ever made. Let's see if I can get it to come into this. It's got oscillating magnets, Maxnet. Well, his name was Max. He was Max Michaelis, Greek origin, I think it was. He had a professorship down in South Africa or places. So what's inside? I've got three of them altogether. There's two of them. Inside is a little instruction sheet and a set of magnets. Now, this is the interesting thing. This had been magnetized in a very curious way. If that was a single bar magnet, fair enough, you've got a north here and a south here, should we say. But they were split like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that meant that magnet was not a bar magnet like this, north here and south here. It was north of the whole of that top surface and south of the whole of that bottom surface. Very strange idea altogether. So, but it made for some very, very nice play, as I now demonstrate. This is just a marvelous toy to play with. It requires a particular type of surface. I've got here a tea towel to create a rough surface, and you have to set them up to make sure they're all pointing in the same direction. Doesn't matter whether it's north or south. And then keep them without turning them over, separate them out. These aren't super magnets, so they don't misbehave too much, you know. And the first thing you do is just to set this up so that it's going to oscillate like this. Put it a little further away, like that, about there. And there it sits, oscillating gently. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. And then you have a bit of fun, because this end here, you can have its mate or its mirror image coming up here like that and doing the same sort of thing. And then sometimes, if you get it very still, you get them to interact as the magnetic field comes over. They'll try then one each side here. They show this in the instruction sheet, which I'll show you in a sec. See if I can get that to shoot. Yeah. This one seems to hang back quite a bit further because it's got all those other magnets in the middle of it. And the last one, if I can get it in position. Yeah, look at that. And you push one down like that, and they all start oscillating in sympathy. Look at that. Extraordinary, isn't it? If you let them go very still, eventually they do stop, but it takes the slightest ground vibration and they'll start working again. Almost still. That one there is still working. There we are. Now we do a bit of beat like that. They'll all start working. All different speeds. This one goes very slowly, a bit laggardly. And the other one, that's intermediate one, these two end ones do the most. So that's one of the items in the instruction book. I'll just run the instruction sheet in front of the camera because it's got two sides to it. One side is all the theory of it. That's the theory. You don't want theory. It's very, very. But this is okay. It contains nice instructions. I'll bring it right up to the camera if I can. There we are. And it's all the way down to the bottom, and you've got lots and lots of things to do with it. Some things I haven't actually tried, but there's the first one I started with, that one up just up there. On the back, it does show something else very extraordinary, though. This one here at the bottom, where they're all in a line, that's what I'm going to try and do, because that is a really tough job, but I feel ambitious. I must have a go. So then you can just separate them out again, bump like that, and you're just going to do them in a line like that, if you can, but bring them up close together. Here we go. There's the first one, always very easy to do, and he'll just oscillate gently. The second one, you mustn't get too close, not too far. It's very specific. About a tiny bit closer, a tiny bit closer. Well, not too close, otherwise the other one flips backwards. He does a backward somersault. That'll probably happen in a minute. This one here. Back a bit. Forward a bit. Yeah, it's interesting. They hardly affect this one here because he's. Oh, what fun. Oh, we have one more go at this because it's such a challenging thing to do, but so enjoyable. If you can get to do it, sometimes I have managed to get all four plus the anchor one. This is the anchor one at the end. And you can get all four to oscillate, but very, very gently. And if it's too close, it flips, it catches onto the other one. If it's not close enough, it flips backwards sometimes and does a backward somersault, which is quite spectacular. Ooh, they're suddenly going down to rest again. Put them back a bit. One more go. and that one there. Oops, really. And the third one. Yeah. Sometimes I'm a bit bummed about the last one. Wow, done it. Woo! It takes a long time to do that, I tell you. And then, of course, this one hardly moves. It's got so much more strength of near the anchor magnet to make it work. But what a lovely idea, isn't it? Do a bit of that, and woof, they all stack up like that. So that's a tremendous idea for a toy, isn't it? It was only marketed for a short time because they weren't really marketeers; they were inventors, and they loved to do it. But I went to visit them several times in a little estate they had in Oxfordshire, which he stayed at when he wasn't lecturing down in South Africa. And I showed them lots of my toys. We had a great fun, especially some magnetic toys, and that was a very nice addition to my magnetic toy collection. The second, I'm only going to throw through. The second one is this wonderful one by Johann Villet of Radiaculum, we call it. Goodness me, the Radiaculum. I came across this wonderful product at Nuremberg the very first year, being shown by a friend of his. Johann's friend was Gerhard Stock, I've known for years. And it was shown on the front of the stand in a giant form. This was the one he actually sold, and I bought several of these. Oh dear, I've got to make sure that you're picturing the picture of it. It's got a nice spiral to it, which you'll see the reason for the spiral because it relates to something extraordinary. I've got to actually go down a certain angle, not too steep and not too. That's better, yes. So, ooh, that's beautiful. It's spectacular, isn't it? But on the front of the stand, he had a gigantic version of this, absolutely gigantic, just a one-off, which they often do on stands. If they're selling a product, they make a ginormous version of this, and it was about that size, and the top itself was that size. And many years later, I stayed with Gerhard many times. He wanted to get rid of the stock. You know, he's finished now, and he had no use for the giant one. But I wanted it. Woo! But I look at this piece of metal like that, one of these absolutely gigantic, no chance. But on reflection afterwards, I thought, well, hang on a sec. I could take the top. I could manage that in my case, but not the small one. So I've had a top like this for years and years sitting in my collection. Look at this. That's about 4 inches down, because that's the one that's sold. And this was a giant one that Johann Villet made specially just for Gerhard to demonstrate on his stand at Nuremberg, a one-off piece, only one in the world. And the idea is it went on the same thing, but a giant version of this. Well, I can actually, with a bit of effort, I'll probably do it in the studio, make that and stand over it, and you just about make it perform, because it's very tough magnet there. It's holding it very nicely, because it's so much stronger. And that's before neodymium was around, too, as well. Probably samarium magnets. But it does rotate and does go round and round and round, but it should be on a giant version of this, which would be spectacular. Unless if I couldn't take it back in my luggage, there we are. Thing is lost. The last one is a nice one by a company called Mazadea in Japan, who've been out for many years. And it's again 1990ish. It's quite an old toy. This. It's got batteries inside. Let me just make sure it's switched on. No, it's switched off. We are. And the motor going now. This is a fortune teller, but it's got a problem with it when you're trying to tell someone's fortune. You put on the right gear to make yourself look like, an astrologer, and put it on here and make mysterious movements, etc. here, and you have a set of cards. For no reason at all, it suddenly starts to work. I think it's supposed to work when you stroke it like that, as if there's a sensor that detects, the presence of your hand in the air. But you've got a set of cards to go with it. Let me just show you the cards. And the problem is, well, I'll show you the card actually that it's going to tell my fortune. It's that one there. If I can find that one here quickly before it changes its mind. That one there, we are. I found Venus. That's my fortune. It's Venus. So that's all right. The trouble is, when you're actually reading your fortune, it's on the back, and there you have a problem. Yes, this is Mazadeo of Japan, and it's all in Japanese. Oh dear. How to read that? Oh, the trouble of telling people's fortunes when you've got a set of cards, all of which are Japanese hieroglyphics on the back. On the front, all you can do, it does say it's got moon and it's got sun and it's got thunder. It's got funny ones, not ones I'm used to in Western astrology. And this thing keeps going every now and then for no reason at all. So it's a lot of fun, but it does show that it's a difficult task telling people's fortune, especially when you've got to read that.